There goes that man's jockstrap.
Oh my God, did you see that?
America's team? Yeah, right.
Oh, baby, it's a big day in sports. There's nothing like battling it out with your teammates all season long to go win a championship. Green Bay's got it this year. Huge move for them. I think it's going to be a game changer.
We have a lot to talk about this busy week in the sports world. Welcome to the In a League of Their Own podcast. Hello, everyone, and welcome to today's NFL segment. Pro Bowl weekend is upon us here. The skills challenges got underway last night. Saw the NFC got the trophy last night, while Justin Jefferson got a clutch one-handed catch and dodgeball to seal for the NFC. So that was fun to watch. But kind of some other news going on around here. Obviously, it's that time of year, that head coach carousel of interviews and guys finding new spots. A common name known in the college football world, had some time in the NFL, Jim Harbaugh. After interviewing with the Vikings, he announced that he will return to Michigan. He's not going to accept any positions in the NFL. And he also announced that he will not pursue any NFL positions so long as Michigan keeps him. Do you think this means that Harbaugh will finish his career with the Wolverines? Or do you think that they do eventually cut ties with him and then we see him back in the NFL eventually?
I don't see him getting back to the NFL, just for all the rumors of how he likes to take his style and literally control everything. Turns out nobody really wants to give a head coach almost all that power coming right back. So I feel like him even interviewing for an NFL job was just getting leverage for a new deal that he just got with Michigan that he's going to sign. Obviously, he got them the Big Ten championship and to the college football playoff. So he's going to deserve it. It's a pay me now. What have you done for me lately business of how you get paid? And he did a good job. And I feel like his team, if it was releasing the news that he was going to get the job in Minnesota, props to them, because I think they even fooled Jim Harbaugh himself. The reports have came out that he expected that he had the job going into the interview, and after 9 hours, it turned out that they decided not to give him the job. And one of the speculative reasons is a former guy that he worked with in San Francisco is higher up in the chain as far as command in the Vikings organization. And he didn't like how Harbaugh ran ship in San Francisco.
Yeah, I didn't realize that. There's kind of that correlation there. I mean, he only interviewed for a couple spots. I think Vegas was another one, but then
Vegas, Denver, and Minnesota.
Oh, okay. Yeah, I mean, I honestly could see him staying in college football the rest of his career. As you mentioned, this gives him leverage as far as, I might leave. In Michigan, like, got that taste of a Big Ten championship and a college football playoff for the first time ever since the college football playoff has been like administered.
Because he almost lost his job at Michigan after doing as terrible as he did.
Oh yeah, if he didn't,
he had to take half. Literally, the deal that they had going into this year was he took half of the money that he was supposed to get paid on a prove-it year to see what he could do. And now, obviously, he proved it. That's one thing that is said about Jim Harbaugh. Every organization that he has been at has been successful. Like, when he needs to get it done, he gets it done. But the style that he has is not like a proper approach. And seems like he fits right in with Michigan.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah, he seemed like, you think of Michigan, you don't think of a player, you think of Jim Harbaugh. Like, he's the face of that college, like all sports really. He's just kind of the face of, like I said, face of Michigan. And yeah, I mean, he seems like a raw dude to where I could see how he might be difficult to work under or with in a team. But I mean, at the college level, whatever he did last year seemed to have worked. Obviously, in college, it's that revolving door of transfers, seniors leaving. Like it's hard. It's hard to, unless you're Alabama, Georgia, Clemson, LSU, USC, some of these top schools that you're going to get your top recruiting classes every year where that revolving door, a 5-star recruit leaves, a 5-star recruit comes in. Smaller schools, although Michigan, I wouldn't say is a small school, but as far as talent that they get, it's going to be tougher for him to try to build off what he did last year. I don't know the roster off the top of my head of who they're losing. I know McNamara, Haskins, like quarterback, running back duo there. As far as their eligibility, were they seniors? Were they juniors? I can't remember off the top of my head, but yeah, like I said, he got a sniff of what this being this close to going the distance looks like. And I think that Michigan is going to keep him until he puts together another 2 or 3 shit years. And then maybe then they part ways with him, but who knows how long that could be.
Yeah, and he has done a really tremendous job of turning that Michigan program around into kind of like a winning culture, a place where kids want to go play, as they currently have the 9th best recruiting class in the country, and Wisconsin currently is 45th. So just goes to show Ohio State's 4th, Penn State's 6th. Like, there's a lot of Big Ten up there, but not. And I feel like he's got that program on track, and I feel like if he ever were to go back to the NFL, it would not be, I don't think, as a head coach. I feel like it would be like maybe an offensive something up in the booth, not on the sideline. But yeah, I feel like he just hasn't made right now in Michigan, and hey, he earned himself, I believe it's going to be like a 4-year, $98 million deal, I think is what it's going to be. Somewhere around just about what all the other coaches are getting paid. And he deserved it.
Yeah, for sure.
And then on to my question here for you. Kind of going to throw a fastball at you as well. Basically, the big quarterbacks on the market right now that currently are under contract with their teams, Derek Carr, Russell Wilson. Do you think either one of these guys is going to get moved? And where do you think they're going to get moved to if they do?
I see Derek Carr staying after having the year that he had, being in the top 5 in a handful of quarterback categories, yards being one of them. To be able to go through what they went through this year as far as the head coaching change, losing Ruggs, a handful of other guys on that team, kind of having the email thing with Washington kind of lingering over them all season, and they're able to make a playoff push. I think that they cut ties with the right people. They bring in Josh McDaniels from New England, who is seems like he's one of the biggest offensive masterminds as far as what he was able to do with Tom for 20 years. Well, he wasn't there for all 20 years, but for the time that he was there with Tom. And I think that what he brings to the Raiders, I think that Derek Carr is going to build off what he did this past year and maybe put himself in the MVP conversation next year. Obviously super early as far as I think they still have to make a couple moves, get a couple more offensive weapons, just to fill that void that Ruggs left. But yeah, I could see Derek Carr staying. But as for Russell Wilson, obviously kind of alongside Aaron Rodgers last offseason, there was the rumors of, he might want out. His top destinations are Vegas, Chicago, Saints. I see him moving as much more of a possibility and going to that last team I just mentioned, the Saints, possibly. Winston tore his ACL in the season, so for him to be perfectly back on track, he's not going to be back until like a handful of weeks into the season. And then after Taysom Hill took over there, unable to get it done and get them into the playoffs. Their defense basically was the only reason they had a shot. That offense is just not clicking enough with who's under center. You got Kamara in the backfield. You got Michael Thomas if he's going to be back and healthy. Callaway. They got some offensive weapons that like can go the distance. They just need to plug in a good systematic quarterback, which I think Russell Wilson is. And Russell Wilson, I mean, played in Seattle for how long? Dealing with the rain, the elements once you get later into the season. I think he'd like a change of scenery where he gets to play in a dome for half of the season. But yeah, I mean, I wouldn't say that's a guaranteed thing, but between the two, I definitely see Russell Wilson has a better chance of moving than Carr does.
And then if he were to go to the Saints, what would the Saints offer for Russell?
Well,
especially because Pete Carroll doesn't want to rebuild and he's in the last legs of his career.
Yeah. I mean, draft picks, because Seattle, they're kind of in the same boat as the Rams, to where they don't have shit for first round picks for the next couple of years. Like maybe a first rounder or two, and Taysom Hill. Because Taysom Hill, yes, he got that new contract, but did they make all of his years voidable? He had that weird voidable contract, so he's more disposable than.
I thought he has a new contract now.
They changed it so it's not voidable.
Yeah, I think he signed a new deal sometime during the season to where he was making like $40 million. Turned out to like $40 million total if he played every game at quarterback, and it was like $13 million or something if he was like a utility player or something.
Yeah, it looks like on December 2nd, signed the deal. 4-year contract that rate could range anywhere from 22.5 to 95 million. A 4-year hybrid.
So it depends what he's gonna play.
Yeah, but only 22.5 million guaranteed. So for a 4-year contract, they're only taking a hit of 22.5 million for sure, which isn't a lot for a quarterback. That's half of what the top guys are making in a year, and that's for 4 years. Yeah, I don't know. I mean, but that's the thing, like you said, Pete Carroll, they're kind of in win now mode with what they did to go out and get the guys that they did and give up draft picks to where they don't want to rebuild. So I don't know if Taysom Hill's the guy to bring in, unless, like I said, they can get a couple first round draft picks out of it and then go get a quarterback out of this year's draft. But I don't know. I'm trying to
And Taysom Hill's guaranteed $9 million by March 18th if he's still on the roster.
So if they want to move him, they better move him in the next month then.
Yeah, because it looks like this coming year's contract, he's making a base salary of $1.1 million. He gets a $2,225,000 signing bonus, and then he gets the $9 million roster bonus if he's on the roster by March 18th. Only carries a cap hit of $12 million, and that's through the length of his contract. Then he gets paid $9.9 million next year, followed by 10 would be his base salary. So he signed a friendly deal to New Orleans, I feel like, to not strap them hardcore of cash because he's only carrying $12 million against the roster.
Yeah. It's smart for him because he hasn't really proved a whole lot, to where if he wants to keep a starting job right now, to take less is a good move.
And you're going to get $9 million, so you're making 10 basically being on the roster.
Yeah. But then for the Saints too, on their end, again, playing their cards right, let's not pay this guy a shit ton because we can still move him and it's not going to affect us a whole lot.
Yeah, this year would be the year to do it because he is costing the least
Yeah.
and the most. This is the biggest cap hit year that he will cost them, and the cheapest amount of money that they got to pay him.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, otherwise for Russell, I mean, New York, because they might still cut ties with Daniel Jones. Still waiting to see what the new head coach and GM decide to do there. If they cut ties with Daniel Jones, get rid of him. I don't know what their cap and what their draft picks are looking like because they just went out and got a handful of guys. So they don't want to give up the people that they just got to go get Russell. Plus Russell, that'd be kind of stepping into like a rebuild. So I don't know if he'd want to go there, but yeah, I mean, and as far as Chicago, the other place he said he wanted to go, I think that they're all in on Justin Fields to cut him loose for a full season and see what he's got instead of this back and forth. Like Foles is going to start, all Andy Dalton, all Fields, like this just bobbing and weaving of desperation because they don't know who to or they didn't know who to play. So yeah, and then like I said for the Raiders, I think they stick with Derek Carr. So right now, if Russ is going to move, I think the Saints would be what makes the most sense.
Yeah, talking about Russ, there's a handful of teams I see that could work just because of what the Seattle would get in return. Dolphins, I could see on there as everybody who knows if the rumors are true that they wanted to upgrade, but if they are, I'm going with that. How they want to move on from Tua. They could get rid of him. They have multiple mid first round picks. They also could give up a D lineman, Emmanuel Ogbah, Ogbah. Pete Carroll loves his defense, and that team's built around the defense. So you get a defensive guy and a young quarterback who still can get the job done. That's just one. Eagles, another option. Obviously, they know that Jalen Hurts could take him this far, but he looked atrocious.
Yeah.
Do they go and upgrade at that position since they have the team that got there? If they just upgrade at quarterback, and they also have 2 first-round picks, get Jalen Hurts or Gardner Minshew. Both guys are young and can play. And then you also get a defensive player, Derek Barnett, Hargrove. Seattle's all about the defense, so it's going to take a defensive player, I feel like, in this deal with a couple picks and a quarterback to even Denver. I know that they wouldn't be getting rid of a quarterback back, but they do have the 9th pick in the draft this year, where who's their backup right now?
Still Drew Lock.
Seattle?
Oh, Seattle? Gino.
Yeah. So, and he seemed to do all right this year when he had to step in for Russ.
Mm-hmm.
So they have the number 9 pick. They step with Gino. They get a couple defensive players off their. They really do have a good defense, and let her ride. I feel like the Seattle's not too far away as well. And then Cleveland, Baker. Cleveland, if they have a better quarterback, how far do they go? Do they take the AFC North? That is a question. Myles Garrett, Denzel Ward, a top superstar defensive player, also in the deal. I know that they just reloaded that D line, so you could really take Clowney too. You could take any one of those guys off that D line. And then Carolina, Sam Darnold. What are they going to do there? Obviously, that I think is the biggest quarterback question mark as far as who, what, where is even on the roster for that, as we all know that they want to move on from Sam Darnold.
Well, Cam Newton stepped in the second half of the season
and didn't do too well. So I feel like they're going to move on from him as well. And they have the number 6 overall pick. I don't know. I feel like they have the defense. They have the roster. I feel like if they have a quarterback too, that could kind of go a little bit further. Obviously, you take less of the weight off Christian McCaffrey, and hopefully that his career can last a little bit longer and he's not banged up all the time.
Yeah.
And then the last team, I think it's a long shot, but Washington Commanders, now that they have their official team name, they still don't really have a true QB1. I know they kind of turned to Heineke this year, and he did pretty good. He has his up and down moments, but still seems like they could upgrade. Every team can always upgrade at quarterback unless you got a guy. And I still feel like they're not 100% locked in on that. They also hold a number 11 pick, and they have 3, I believe, first round defensive linemen on their team that all are pretty young in the previous years. So that's a bunch of defensive players that you can bring over to Seattle, which I feel like I said, I feel like that's going to have to be part of any sort of deal for Russell Wilson. It's going to take a quarterback, some picks, and a D guy, and not just a mediocre one, because Pete's trying to win another Super Bowl before he goes out.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, all those teams make sense with the right, I mean, picks, guys, cap on both sides. Like, there's a lot that goes into the equation. But I mean, when you have Russell Wilson is a top 5 talent as far as the quarterback position in the league, who has another 3 to 5 years of prime, arguably. Yeah, I mean, any team that isn't locked into a top 10 quarterback basically should be on the table to go get Russell Wilson. Thinking about this too, obviously a long shot. Aaron Rodgers moves on. Packers go get Russell, Wisconsin guy. Haven't even seen a single article or a word mention of that, because obviously they're looking at trying to keep that. And actually, speaking of that, I saw from a Packers source, I think it was on Instagram, saying that they're close to a monster deal for Rodgers to keep him in Green Bay for the rest of his career, supposedly. So I saw one thing on it. I did some checking on it just to kind of back it up for credibility. And it was the same source in multiple areas that said it. So somebody within the Packers organization. So again, could be blowing smoke, looking for clicks, or they might have some traction behind it. So, but yeah, Rodgers said before free agency starts in second week of March that he plans to make a decision. So in the next couple of weeks here, hopefully we'll kind of get an idea what's going on there.
Yeah. I believe it's going to be exactly what he said on the McAfee show. His last time on, the second Devontae Adams' deal is done. If it gets done, whatever happens to him, then he'll let everybody know what's going to happen. So I feel like they're working on a deal to get both of those guys long-term in Green Bay. Yeah, I really do. I feel like I said, I feel like he's going to wear that green and gold for his whole career. He loves Green Bay. Granted, there's not a lot to do, but he does all what he needs to do in the off season. He loves the cold weather, loves the fans, I feel like, I don't know, just a gut feeling that, like what you said, I didn't even know about those rumors, but I could definitely see it happening. I could see a 4 or 5 year, 300. I could see a 3 year, like 195 million, and 4 or 5 year potential options, maybe something like that. Like if he wants to keep going after that point.
Yeah.
But then, like how he talked about not being in a rebuild, that means that the Packers are structuring to be able to bring guys in every free agency, go get guys at the deadline. Like they're going win now. They're not going, oh, we're going to build guys like we normally do and then ship them off to other teams.
Yeah.
They're in a win now mode.
Yeah.
Because it's never seemed like the Packers have ever. This year, I guess, is the first kind of year where it's actually felt like, okay, they picked up a couple guys that are like, okay, seems like they're going to go for it. But then still you have Bakhtiari out, which I still feel like is a huge deal. And if he can't even get back to full strength, maybe that's a guy that we move. As tough as that would be for Packer Nation, because Packer fans love the guy. It would save a lot of money, or if he restructures his deal to save the Packers some money. Yeah, and this year was step one. I feel like this is a little journey that it's going to be here. Maybe now that Tom's gone too, that pressure of Rodgers is kind of like lifted, of like, don't gotta worry about seeing this guy. Don't gotta worry about preparing to ever run into this guy anymore. Like, it's done and over. Roethlisberger's gone as well. Like, whole bunch of quarterback Saints. They're not going to be the juggernaut that they normally are. Like,
but at the same time, now that Tom's gone, Rodgers is now the new vet face of the NFL.
And that's what I mean. Like, I feel like this is his time to take over and kind of go on a 2-3 year, maybe win a couple Super Bowls, end on a little dynasty for the Packers. Like, if we're in an all-win mode, I feel like we could do it. The toughest team now at this point in the NFC is going to be the Rams, Cardinals, and the Niners, depending how good Trey Lance is going to be.
Yeah.
But it's the same old, it seems like, in the NFC year after year, and now you take out the GOAT. I mean, it makes it that much easier, I feel like. Just less pressure.
Yeah.
Because that always is a conversation. Oh, like from the beginning of the year, it's going to be Tampa and Green Bay in the NFC Championship, and Tom's going to beat him again. Like, the whole year, that was now you don't got to hear anything.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Yeah, it'll be interesting. Again, a lot to happen this offseason. Super Bowl still next week, Pro Bowl this weekend. Still a couple weeks of NFL season left here. So that'll wrap up our NFL segment for today. Be sure to check out our NBA and NHL segments today as well. Thanks for stopping by.